Hello everyone. So this is my basic bodice. I've prepared that already to make this easy for me. So the first thing I'll be doing is to extend my dart line all the way to the shoulder. I've extended my line now. And the next thing I'll be doing is to find 1/4. That's a quarter of the distance between this line at the shoulder and the bust line. So I'm going to measure that and divide that by 4. That would help me to determine how high the neckline is going to be, except you measure on your client and they are comfortable with a particular length. But if not, this is one of the ways to determine how low or how high your corset neckline is meant to be. So for me, I'm going to measure that. So I have about 10 inches, almost 10 inches. So from the bust line, I'm going to mark what I have. So mine is 2.5 inches. So it means my neckline for this bust cup is going to be 2.5 inches. So whatever your distance is between the shoulder and the bust line is, you divide that by 4, and that can serve as your neckline. Some persons also do the distance between the bust line and the under bust. So if I measure that, that's about 4 inches. That's a lot. I don't think I want to use that, but that's also one way to do it. So you can go upwards 4 inches. So that will leave you at, for me, that's around the across chest measurement. So you can do whatever is comfortable for you. Alright, so I'll draw a line around this area. But first of all, I want to measure what that depth is. I measure that on myself. That's about 7.5. And I think that is fine. So I'm going to make a straight line on that point. So this is going to serve as my neckline. So I can label that as my neckline because I have a lot of lines running here and I don't want to mix up anyone. So after you have determined how low or how high your neckline is going to be, the next thing you're going to do is from your bust line here, you're going to mark upwards about 1.25. If you use cm, that's around 3 cm. So from the bust line, I'm going to mark upwards about 1.2 cm. And one of the reasons why we do that is to help the bust to be well shaped and also not to eat into your bust line measurement. So to ensure that it does not come out tight, basically. And then after I've done that, on the neckline, wherever your neckline is, you're going to mark inwards on this from this center line here. You're going to mark on each side 0.5 inch rather, forgive me. So I'm going to mark that this 0.5, and I'm going to connect that back to this 3 cm mark. Now that I have that out of the way, on the bust line, I'm also going to mark above and below the bust line, I'm going to mark 0.5 inch on both sides. And I'm going to connect that to my bust point. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to tighten my under bust. And for me, I just tighten by 0.5 most of the time. So from each of my dart legs, I'm going to mark outward, or is it inward, by 0.2, 0.5. So I'm going to mark that here, and I'm also going to mark that here, and then I'll connect that to my waistline. And with my curve ruler, I'm going to connect this point back to, I'm going to connect it towards the bust point line. It doesn't have to get to this point. As long as it touches this line that comes from the bust point, it is fine. So with my curve ruler, I'm going to okay, so this way I've been able to tighten my under bust. Now that I have done all of those, I'm going to cut open the center line for my dart. I'm going to cut it open up to the bust point. So up to this, somewhere around here. Yeah, forgive me, up to the bust point, yes. So I'm going to cut that open. So it will help me to be able to close all of these darts. But before I go ahead and do that, I need to draw a straight line from here of about 0.5 inch. So I'll just go ahead and do that. You see why I need this line as we go. So now that I've done that, I'm going to close this side dart. Because you're working with a top that needs to be like well fitted, from my center line here, I'm going to come inward by 0.5. So this is like tightening this side, just so that the top, or sure that the top will fit, will have a good fit rather. And since I've added my sewing allowance, it means I'm also going to be taking 0.5 out of that and connecting it back to the waist. I can erase all of these lines so that it doesn't get, I don't have a lot of lines running. I can easily mix one with another. So that is what I have now. So the next thing I'll be doing is to draw my cups. Right. So here is one of the reasons why I needed to draw this line. This is going to serve as the center, the first panel of my bust cup. Now I need to draw my cup, but before that, let me fold this bust cup. Sorry, the right. Now I need to draw the cup, but to serve as a guide, because the shape around here is very important. So I don't go in too deep or too shallow. I'm going to mark about 1 inch or 1.25 here. So this is going to serve as a guide when I'm drawing my. Okay. Notice that is around, for me it is around this 1 inch. So I know my cup will look right. So I can draw out my cup now. So I have that locked in. It's left for me to draw the one on this side. So from the sideline, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. And I'm going to draw a curve. Okay. So my cup is all done. The next thing I'm going to, I didn't notice this fabric when I bought it. It has holes at different points. Okay, so begin cutting now. There is a shape here that I need to redo. That's after I closed this dart. This the shape here is not straight, so I'm going to redraw that. Okay, so this looks much better. Now we can start cutting. I'm pinning to secure my pattern so it does not move around. Let me get my chalk. So I'll be marking 0.5 here as my sewing allowance to connect this top to the skirt part of the dress. Around where my bust cup is going to also sit, I'm going to mark 0.5 all around. I'm just going to follow the shape as I go. I'm also going to add sewing allowances around here, also 0.5. I need to mark this center point so that when I'm joining my cups, I know exactly where they need to meet. So I'm just going to, okay, so I'm going to notch this area when I'm done cutting. I'm going to use this as reference when I'm joining my cups. So we can, oh, before I cut out, I've not added the sewing allowance at the center front. So I need about 1 inch in this area. So I'm measuring 1 inch. There's a gentle curve around this area. I'm also going to follow it. So I can cut that out now. So I'm going to notch this point. It's very important. So I have that done. You can now cut the bust cups. So I'm going to add 0.5 around it. That will be my sewing allowance. Now I'm going to also cut that out. I'm also done cutting that one. So I'll cut the base of my cups now. I'm going to pin them. I'm going to be marking 0.5 around, but at the tip here I'm going to draw out a line because I'm going to notch around these areas. This will help me to know how to or where to join my cups together. So I'm going to start marking 0.5 around my cups. I'm also going to mark 0.5 around this one. Okay, I can cut now. Okay, so in this area where I have this line drawn, I'm going to make a notch there. So when I'm joining the two sides of my bust, I'm going to know how to join. This is basically it. When I'm joining, I'm going to pin these sides together. So I'm going to also notch this part. Okay. So I have all the panels for my cup all done. So I have 1, 2, and I also have this. So I'm going to be ironing my interfacing on each of the panels. So I'll get my iron now and add interfacing to it. I'm also going to be adding this crinoline mesh as a support for my cup. Crinoline mesh. I'm also going to be adding so here are the materials I'll be using to flesh out my cups. I'll be using this foam bra. I'll be using my interfacing, and I'll also be using this crinoline mesh. So I'll be cutting each one now. Okay. So I'll be cutting this out now. Let me pin it to make it easier for me to walk through. So this is going to be like the soft padding for my bust cup. So these two are done. Okay, I need one more for this. I need to cut out one more. So I've cut the foam pad for the two bases of my cup, and now to the last panel. I'm also going to cut the foam for it, and we'll be done with cutting. Oh, we're not really done. I need to cut my interfacing as well. I'm going to use this to cut a second piece. So I have this done now. I'm trying to confirm if there are any excesses. But I think I'm good with what I have. So now cut the interfacing for each of my panels. I'm going to be using this. We call it Este around here. Let me set this aside. trying to fold my interfacing because I need 2 of each. Okay, we can start cutting now. Okay, let me pin this for safety. I don't want to use my lazy approach today. Most times when I want to add interfacing to my outfit, I'll just place it over it and iron before I cut. But today I'm choosing to cut first before ironing. And the last but not the least, Okay, so I'm done cutting all my interfacing. What I have left is to cut my crinoline mesh. This will just help to further reinforce my bust cups. I don't use it all the way all the time by the way. So I don't need it for that panel. I need it for this. So I'm going to cut that out. Can cut about 2 layers. That's how we four all together for each of your panels. So it will be 2. You know, our bust cups are 2 for one outfit, so you can cut 2 for each of your bust cups. So when you're cutting, you have 4 all together. But because I'm using this soft pad, I don't want it to be too hard, so I think I'm just going to be going with one of these. So I'm cutting for this. And I'll cut for the last cup. I have all my panels cut. The only thing that is left for me to do is to cut my lining for my cups, and that is basically it for now. So I'll do that backstage and come live later, maybe in another 30 minutes, to sew my bust cups. Yeah, so I'll see you in about 30 minutes. I'll just go on and iron all of this, and I'll see you.